Hey everyone, welcome back. It is Laura at Hyperstamper. Today's antique junk journal that I just finished is stunning. It is a book from 1879 and the spine was destroyed, so I did some repair there, but I did have to cover up the repairs with some trim. But I did manage to find some beautiful matching beads from my vintage bead collection, and I strung those up. I added a little title here. That was the chapter title page from an antique book, said, "And I'll be happy." And I thought that was perfect for a journal. So as you know, if you follow me, everything inside is authentic, original, antique, and vintage ephemera. No commercial products anywhere to be found. And I'm about to put it in my Etsy shop, hyperstamper.etsy.com. So let's take a little peek, see what we have. Inside this very front pocket here is a 50-year-old vintage bird book page. And in this pocket made out of a vintage dictionary page, I've got this little mini journal with all of my cutoffs from antique papers. So lots of space to add your thoughts there. The original signature of the person who owned this book was P.A. McLeod. And there's the original first page there with the publication date down here, 1877, in Roman numerals. Vintage tree book page, really fun clusters throughout here. Here's one of these original Arborite Company salesman samples, and it is double-sided, which is kind of rare for these countertop samples. So I love this one. It's blue and red, and I've only got a few of these left, maybe 10 or so. So quite happy about that. Here's a hummingbird page from the Handbook of Nature book from the 20s, and this is a botanical page from a 50-year-old botanical book, and I put some hand-pressed flowers on there. Little vintage recipe card there for journaling, a little antique paper up there to journal on. And this page here, this plate came out of this 1903 Beatrix Potter edition of The Tale of Mr. Todd. I love it. I love that the plates held up the test of time. And back here is just a wonderful magazine page from the 50s, or it could even be the 40s. It's a little bit worn, as you can see, but I just love the images, how to earn money selling cards, and really funny advertisements on the other side. Sorry, my cat's going a little crazy in the background here. This is a plate from the early 1900s on frogs from a nature book. An 1879 ledger book page. Now this piece will probably come off naturally because it's so old and brittle, but just tuck it right back into one of the pockets after you've journaled on it. This is a really fun little circus image here from a 1920s children's book and a 1950s recipe book page. Lots of fun desserts on there. And this little pocket here is made from an 1850s veterinary book, little horse page there. More birds and their eggs from that bird study book. More vintage tree book pages, and this came from an 1885 German book here. Antique paper on the back for a little tiny journaling spot. I love that the pocket page was called Past and Present from an antique book. And this is a little cutoff from antique wallpaper border, which was hand rolled. I love that wallpaper border. I still have a little bit left. Here's a 1930s children's book page there. This is an antique book on flower gardening. Some vintage tracing paper, which is really cool. I love the natural discoloration there, showing its age. 1950s crochet book, doily making book here. And this is a really cool piece from the 1920s. It's a student's page out of their workbook on accounting. This is how to write a proper check. This is kind of neat, Pepito. This is the front page from a book that was probably the Bobbsey twins. And I love that blue plaid pattern. I think that's the last piece I have of it. And this is one of the Janet Lennon books from the 1960s, 1961 to be exact, a very special year. And here is a payday card from 1968 and a 1920s fastener card here, and that was made in England. Isn't that beautiful? Restless. I just love them so much. One of my favorite things to put in my journals. More of that tracing paper. This is the original interior spine of this book from 1879, and I love it. I don't want to bore you, but these little things throw me, the way they bound this book with these two pieces of twine here. I rarely see that, so that was pretty special. 1950s bingo card. You can journal on the back. That's authentic, of course. And a 1950 Rochester, New York University of Rochester yearbook page. Both sides there. I wrapped it around and I tucked in this 1940s or 50s baby card here. You can journal inside and out on that one, or have some real fun with it. Hey, re-gift it to somebody who's having a baby. How fun would that be? To send them a, you know, an 80-year-old card. This is a really fun 1927 ad here, made into a journaling tag, and I made this one into a little journaling card as well with antique paper on the back, and then one of my fun pearl shop receipts from the 50s, which of course you could journal on both sides of that as well. A vintage music sheet. This came from a 1940 book on housekeeping, and oh, sorry, this one's from the Blue Ribbon Cookbook, and that has had a set of tables. Swear to God, I still don't know how to set a table properly. Have to look it up every time. Good thing the Queen's never coming to visit me. 1940s French almanac page. You'll see more of that in a bit. A vintage needlepoint or cross-stitch pattern there. And more fun vintage pages here. Vintage means it's 50 years old or more. I don't put anything under 50 years old in here. If I do, I'll let you know. This is a 1940s Laura Wheeler pattern. And this particular one here is so precious. I've been holding on to it a little too long. And this one probably would have been used for a bedspread or a pillowcase. And you can even see down here, there's a trial piece that you would have ironed on first to make sure that it works. Isn't that cool? It says trial on there. And she's just adorable. I love that one. And then what's really cool is what goes with her is this really cool little scallop pattern. So that could have been for a bed skirt or the edging of a pillowcase. Just all really, really fun. Back in the day when women used to do those things by hand. This is from the early 1900s, wrap around. And this is from 1920, a little children's book page that I turned into a journaling card. More wonderful children's book pages, The Squirrel and the Bunny. This is from 1947 on Fashions of the Ages. Look at this page. Oh my gosh, it's wonderful. I love it. Just pulled that from a magazine, September 1956. More of these wonderful vintage pages. This is an antique page from 1904. Antique means it's more than 100 years old. Vintage is 50 to 100. Little lesson for the day. Don't you know? 1889 ledger page, a feather from my backyard. I just think it's so beautiful how the top is very thin up here. And this is some of the binding string from this book that I've made into a little cluster down there. And then this is just a hand-typed research paper from 1887, put into a little pocket here from the book. And I hope you love this as much as I loved making it. Come back soon and don't forget to subscribe. Talk to you soon.